George Sylvester is a Brockton native who made his way over to West Bridgewater many years ago to be the middle school basketball coach. During his time here, he's had a large impact on many students ranging from grade 7 all the way up to grade 12. However, we want to take a look at George outside of his coaching role. What was George's life like? What was his relationship like with his son? What do his former players think of him? We wanted to answer all of that and see just how great of a person George is and how much of an impact he's made on the community around him.
I was born in Brockton, 1948. I lived there, right through high school. Went to St. Patrick's School up until Spelman, and went to Cardinal Spelman. And one of my best thoughts as a child growing up, when I think back, was Rocky Marciano winning a championship of the world in 1953. And I remember being in a bedroom off the kitchen, and the horns going off and waking me up. I was sound asleep, a little kid. And, Daddy, why the horns? My father comes in, and he was a lot quieter than I was. He says, Rocky, it's for Rocky. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. And geez, I always remember the excitement for that, and great living in that area, growing up in that area. We had a lot of fun back then.
My first real memory of George was walking into school, and I saw a guy sitting at a desk, and I was like, who is this guy? Like, I don't know. And he was like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? And he greeted me, and I had never known him before. I was just super friendly guy.
Yeah, Brockton was a great city. I lived 2 houses back from Main Street. Heard sirens all night long, and it wasn't police all the time. Brockton was a pretty good city to live in. It was two-way traffic. There was no mall, so all the businesses were downtown. I was actually, it was an envy of a lot of people to live that close to the center. We could walk any place. I was always going up to Just Cleaners for my mother, or if we had to buy something, walking up to Edgar's. They had a lot of stores the older people would remember. And the playground at the end of the street, it was like a full-time job in the summer. You'd go up at 9 in the morning till noontime. I had to go home for lunch and sit for an hour and go back till 5. And we loved it. There was always, the bigger kids would have the diamond. There was sets of places all around there. Not to dwell on Rocky, but I do remember him coming over occasionally. By then, he'd already retired, I believe. But seeing him going, he lived in the house right across from Edgar's, and we'd be playing ball, and someone said, "There's Rocky." All the gloves went right down, and we were hanging on the fence waving, and he was giving us a big wave. And it was really a great atmosphere to grow up with. And there was, you can get into today's, you can't really let a kid go out for 4 hours without knowing where he was, but no one abused it. It wasn't like you would say we're going to the park and go to a mall or something. We enjoyed everything we had in life. I lived in a 2-family, but it was my grandparents upstairs, so it was close family. And like I say, between being an altar boy, the religion portion of going to Catholic schools and stuff, I had a wonderful upbringing, a lot of good friends.
I think my first real memory was before 7th grade basketball, before the tryouts. He held some preseason practices, and that's just when I first got to meet him and eventually be coached under him.
I remember it was 7th grade year, right before the basketball season, maybe late October, early November, and there was an open gym practice before tryouts. And I just remember talking to him, and he was like, "Oh, Mayer's your last name. I recognize that last name from somewhere," which makes sense because George just knows everybody. So it was kind of a little insight on who he is. And then I just remember him talking about, the basketball season. He said he liked kind of what I was doing out there, and that was like a nice confidence boost heading into the season. And then I made the team.
It wasn't as popular a sport. The older kids that played it took it very serious. They just didn't shoot around. I remember playing for a coach named Jack Lahane, that's Hall of Fame, Brockton area, but he coached pros over, and very basic, fundamentally strong. And he used to tell us if a guy was out where the 3-point line is now, don't bother going out there. He's not going to hurt you from out there. And that's the way we were. Stay between your man and the basket, and there was a lot more fundamental, but boy, did those guys, they playing with older kids at the Y, they'd give you a blast if you weren't doing something right. Like if you set a screen and didn't roll with it, you'd get, you know, you'd hear about it. So, but it was fun. The older kids were a lot more mature. You could learn. There was always kids saying, watch your language. There's kids around, older kids and stuff. You know, they really took after the younger kids. You know, there was more guidance out there. They raised heck themselves out there, but you know, they wanted to give the kid a chance.
I'm Casey Sylvester. I was born in Stoughton, Mass. My parents are George and Barbara.
My son played up at the Hancock School. They had a league, so he's played like all you kids did between the YAA and stuff. It's just we were in Brockton at the time, and it got to a point where there were they asked for coaches one time. I always liked it, and I'm like any other parent, always second guessing the coach and stuff. Never doing it, but I thought I knew everything. But finally, they said in the gym one day, "We need 4 coaches. Would you please come forward?" And I asked the kid next to him. He said, when I say kid, he was a father. He was a friend of mine. He said, "I'm not doing it." So I said, "Oh, okay." They asked again. The third time they asked, they said, "Okay, we need 4 coaches. We're going to send 40 kids home. It's up to you guys." So I said, "I don't have a choice. I got to get involved." And we had a very successful first year. I hit it off great with the kids and the families. The parents were wonderful. And we ended up playing for a championship, lost by a couple, but had a pool party at my house in the summer. You know, we really had a lot of fun with it. And I asked them at that time, I said, "Do you guys mind if I stick around and coach at this level? I really enjoy it." They were ecstatic because they were always looking for coaches. But then the word got out, and I ended up doing the 5th and 6th grade. They said we need coaches for middle school. Then they put a high school, so at 1 or 2, I coached every level really, and right now I still love it. I really do. It's the best thing I ever did. I met so many wonderful people, you know, family, you know, kids and parents. So, yeah.
So, I would say he worked a lot. He was always there. He made every game. He found a way to make it to every game. He was hardly ever home, but I mean, he was always there when it counted and when he needed to be. And it's kind of a change of pace now because he's retired and he's always around. So it's like, you know, you kind of. But no, he's been great. He's for a specific story, I would say he always put morals first. Doing the right thing. That was always the most important thing to him. There was no such thing as like, you know, some quick gain or anything like that to make a couple extra bucks. Anything like that it would make him sick. He's very religious, you know. And I remember when I was young, when I lied to him, he got very upset with me, and you know, he wouldn't speak with me. And then I think that we kind of grew closer through that. Because he's just been such an important person in my life as far as the joy that he brings. Because when he's in a good mood, the whole room's in a good mood. He's just a really infectious person, and yeah. And when he's upset with you, you know it, and it feels awful. So, but yeah, he. I would say, you know, morals are very important.
I never. Pushed him. I mean, I always said that if he was wanted a science project or something, I would have gone that route to support him. But I'm very glad he stuck with basketball. Being a sports fan, I loved every portion. He was a very good athlete, and he took a liking to basketball. People would say, "How come Casey shoots so good?" I said, "Drive by the house someday." I never forced him. He'd be out there shooting constantly before school. Winter, sometimes with gloves on, shooting out there. But he took us on quite a ride, though, you know, between AAUs and things like that, the gyms we went to, places we'd never been, and we actually went out. We won a 3-on-3. When I say we, it was part of the group. We won a 3-on-3 out here, and they had a national championship in Colorado, and we flew out there, and we had a wonderful time out there too. So these are things that you can thank him for, and basketball, and he did very well by sticking with it like that.
Yeah, he was. So he started coaching thinking that he wouldn't be able to, that I wouldn't be able to play. So he ended up, you know, saying he'll coach. But thing is, they say that every year that they don't have enough coaches, and he fell for it. But you know, he ended up getting a lifetime hobby out of the deal. You know, but playing for him was awesome. I I enjoyed who got the most playing time, who the last shot always went to. No, but he always he's more in it than other coaches that I've seen, where he's such a passionate coach. When he loses a close game, you know, you don't hear the end of it. And I'm not talking about that night or that week. Like, this goes on for years. You know, he'll remember every single detail of it and really get worked up about it. And he just taught me to be passionate, to just really, you know, go all out and shoot my shot. You know, that was important. You know, I would get down on myself. I missed a couple shots, but you know, shooters are gonna shoot, and you know, I just he was good. I'm trying to. I realize that he was good is a very basic answer, but. You know, I enjoy it. It made me feel a lot more comfortable, put it that way, because I'm playing in Brockton and Mattapan and places. He didn't coach out there, but you know, just having him around and supporting me that's been huge for me.
He was always the cream of the crop with that group, and now by then we'd moved to West Bridgewater, but when they had all-star teams and AAU teams, they always asked them. And he started on the Brockton All-Star team, so he said, no, he's at the top level. When you can compete with those kids, and respect, he was very well liked too, which helps, you know. I just felt he could always hold his own. If we had stayed in Brockton, he would have been on Brockton High, but he wouldn't have got as much success individually because of so much more talent. But it was a nice fit for him down here, and he played with some great kids. Yeah.
Well, you know, I would say I would always try to avoid them. I would think, you know, that my parents were always wrong. You know, I just always wanted to do things my way. The happy times in sports is what kept us close. But, you know, after college, I just wanted to do things my way. And no matter what I did, anything, no matter how stupid it was, you know, he always stuck by me and always believed in me. You know, he always believed that I would overcome whatever. His biggest thing is don't give up, don't ever give up. That's what he always told me. And it's like, it's kind of like really stuck with me, because it's like, sometimes I should give up, you know. But yeah, to just keep going after your dreams. It has been important to him. So as I got older, and I wouldn't say we grew apart, I would just say the polarity of our relationship changed, where things weren't so happy and joyous anymore. And you know, and I would say in the past 3 or 4 years, you know, I've been making smarter decisions, been doing the right thing, you know. And through that, you know, we've grown closer. And, you know, I've never actually, I've never been able to make him laugh. And like recently, you know, I don't know, I must have gotten funny or something because I've been able to make him laugh more. But yeah, we grow closer. And, you know, and I'm very grateful, extremely grateful to have that, because so many people don't have that. It's like, how the hell, how do you do it, you know? But it's definitely been a big help for me, you know.
When we were maybe 8th grade, middle school practice, we're doing baseline layups and practicing our reverse layups. and a lot of kids were like spinning the basketball to try to get that spin off the backboard into the hoop. And he was just like, no, 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 this is not how you do it at all. Just get back to the fundamentals. So, you know, as a middle school coach, you do have to coach those fundamentals, and I thought he did a really good job with that.
He taught me to see every moment as like an opportunity. Even bad stuff I don't want to do. It's like, this is an opportunity to just absorb the crap that I don't like, you know, and find a way through it all to make something of it, you know, to make myself better. That's what I try to do.
And I really enjoy the kids down here. It's a very good group of kids. They all seem to get along. They play sports. We just went through the Mr. West Bridgewater night that my jaw was sore from laughing so hard at one time. They had a lot of fun, and just the spirit, when the winner was announced, you'd think each one of them had won individually, the way they gathered around the winner. They're just a great group of kids, great competitors. I don't know, they started at a young level. The girls have always held their own at every level in sports, and the boys are getting better and better. They've always been competitive, and with all the new leagues, like football, we're able to compete for championships, state championships a couple of years ago, you know. Seems like a couple, maybe 4, maybe, but yeah, no, it's, I like the community and the kids, I really do.
He is the kindest person I have ever met, and that was the same when he was coaching. I mean, win or lose, he was just the most genuine guy on the court, and he wanted to see all of his players succeed all the way through high school.
So I don't tell everybody this, but him scoring 1,000 points meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to him and his mother. And I remember I used to tape the games, and I definitely got that one because he needed 8 points in what turned out to be the final game. It was a state game. So I remember, you can hear me on the speaker, "That's the one, baby, that's the one!" Because he opened the game with 2 threes. And I knew he just needed a basket, and the kid got the ball inside and kicked it out, and that went in. And he was used to, he's seen it before where kids scored 1,000 points. They stopped the game and gave the kid the ball. Casey kind of let the wind out of his sails, and they brought the ball up and took off. And he turned around, you could see it, how he ran back up there. But it wasn't his man, but the kid got to the top of the key, hit a 3 himself. Then they stopped the game and gave him the ball. So it was kind of funny. It didn't get all the glory that went with it, but it's still nice. You know, it's a great thought to keep in the back of my mind. Yeah.
As you can see, George's experiences over a long lifetime have molded him into the person that he is today. He is an admired coach, a terrific father, and he's kind to everybody around him and has a positive impact on everybody that meets him. That was the goal of this documentary, to be able to see just how incredible of a person George is and how lucky we are at West Bridgewater Middle Senior High School to have him as a coach, but also as someone who we can talk to and who we can trust, because he has made a great impact on my life, and he's made a great impact on many people's lives here at school.